Should I just do like an introduction? Hi everyone, my name's Jack Downey. I'm performing today under my solo moniker Wave Goodbye. I'm going to play a couple tracks off of my latest EP, which is called Summer, and maybe some other ones. But this first track is called Crashing Down, and it's off of Summer, and I hope you enjoy it. I wake up late cause I can't sleep at night, cause all of these thoughts give me such a fright. Every day just echoes night. Sometimes I don't feel alive. It's a bad habit to always fear the worst, but I feel it in the air and in the dirt. My sullen behavior keeps me isolated. I don't even realize that I'm irritated. Oh, oh, oh. I've been freaking out because it seems like the world is crashing down. Crashing down. Lately I've been freaking out because it seems like the world is crashing down. Crashing down. I try to stay occupied, but that only works for a limited time. Then I see on the TV the same things that are killing me. I'm looking all over for help, but it seems that I'm all by myself. And maybe this isn't true, but I can't help feeling blue. Oh, oh, oh. Because it seems like the world is crashing down. Crashing down. Lately I've been freaking out because it seems like the world is crashing down. Crashing down. Just deleting the loop real quick. There we go. So this next song is also off the EP. It's called 206, parentheses, I Hate Weekends. It's kind of an anti-party anthem. That's what my friends call it. myself a drunken mess, and I'm not even drunk enough to forget the fool you made of me in front of all my friends. You are the reason I don't like to go out. People like you fill me with so much self-doubt. So I'll just stay in by myself tonight. Don't know what I'll do, but I think I'll be alright. And I'm not even what you'd call an introvert, but I'm not gonna go out if I just get hurt. So if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to bed, and I'll be hanging out with people in my head. You are the reason I don't like to go out. People like you fill me with so much self-doubt. So I'll just stay in by myself tonight. Don't know what I'll do, but I think I'll be alright. Thank you. So yeah, those were both tracks off of my latest EP, Summer, which is out on all streaming services for the first time. Most of my other work has just been on Bandcamp and SoundCloud, but this one's out on everywhere. So yeah, it's kind of a big step. So let me just delete this loop. Whoops. How's the audio and everything? Thank you. Let me just make sure this thing still works. I think it should. It's just those things never break. All right, let's see. It might be the wire. Hang on. Let me Yeah, the top of the cable snapped off. It's I think it's in the machine actually. Oh, wait. Okay. Oh, nope, it's gone. All right, I might have to go without a drum machine for the rest of the performance. Sure. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to think of a track I can do that doesn't involve the machine. I have an idea. Alright, this is a track that I normally perform without the machine, so it's called. This is an older track of mine. It's called "It's Only Been 3 Minutes and I Already Miss You." So. Alright, here we go. It's only been 3 minutes and I already miss you. I know we've gone our separate ways like we do on every other day, but I still hate that you are gone. Every second with you is gold. Our conversations never get old. Please don't fade away. I wanna talk to you all day. This connection is sacred to me. Please don't let this end. I wanna call you more than a friend, and I just want to be your boy. Thank you. That was one of the earliest songs I released. That was released in 2018, and it has the most views of any of my songs on SoundCloud. So it has that distinction. All right, cool. Thank you. I think it's working. So. Thank you so much. Gear tech. This next song's once again off the latest EP. It's called Summer of Love. Turns out that I was wrong. I spoke too soon and now you're gone. The summer of love turns into the fall of despair. I thought I was safe, but then you took me there. The summer of love turns into the winter of hate. I thought I was free, but you caught me at the gate. Summer, everybody's falling in love, and I thought that I was a lucky one, but it turns out that I was a fool, and you left me. How could fate be so cruel? The summer of love turns into the fall of despair. Thought I was safe, but then you took me there. Summer of love turns into the winter of hell. I thought I was free, but you caught me at the gate. Sorry about that. That was kind of rough. That's what I get for singing out of my vocal range. Like I hit that high note on my first take on the recorded version, and I could never do it after that. So. How much more time do I have in the live set? 9 minutes? Okay. All right. I'll do 2 more songs then. I stand alone on the hilltops, the sun shining golden amongst the trees, and I feel a strange sense of stillness slowly start to take control of me. I get away from all the voices of the friends who I know were never true. Most pressing out of all of them, I wonder if I should ever return. Should I return? Should I return? Should I return? I sit for a moment in silence as I try to empty my crowded mind. I have to decide what's important and what I should probably leave behind. I try to forget all the voices of the friends who I know were never true, but most pressing out of all of them, I try my best to forget about you. Forget about you. Forget about you. Forget about you. Thank you. I broke my A string, 1 second. Yeah, I'm just gonna fix that real quick. So, how's everybody's day been? Yeah, the weather's been great. There's a lady, Terry Givians, is saying that she likes the lyrics. No, but I appreciate it. Thank you, Terry. I do some kind of introduction about myself, but I know I have the interview coming up after this, and I don't want to give everything away now. Not much to talk about if I spill the beans now. I'm just used to talking to fill in the gaps. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this in 6 minutes. I will do my best. If I have to play without an A string, I'll play without an A string. It's kind of the curse, actually. I always break a string when I play live, like at least once. And I thought I'd gotten past it, but I guess being out of gigs for a year kind of brought it back. I swear, there was literally a run in 2019 where I broke a string every gig, like no fail. And then for some reason I never had strings, so I'd have to borrow someone else's guitar. It just, yeah, it kind of got me a bad reputation in the scene because everyone's like, oh, bring an extra guitar for Jack. But now I've come a little bit more prepared, so. Yeah, this is just a mess. This is not going around the thing at all. How many podcast episodes have you guys done in the Parlour? All right, I got to tune to A. It's pretty sick, though, because Skylar hit me up about this, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I was like, yeah, why not? Why not? Why shouldn't I do that? Turns out I have my answer now, because the answer is just I can't play. All right, I think it's at roughly A, so. Thank you. All right, for the last song of the live set, this is the closing track off of Summer. This is called Adrift. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who's stuck by me during this set. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in, and of course, thank you to the people with Motif Mag and the Parlour for allowing me to do this. This has been really fun. So, without further ado, this is Adrift. I've taken these steps, but I don't know if it's what I want. Is this the direction I wish to take, or are my answers wrong? And the more I look at the horizon, the more I realize how much time is gone. I know these choices I make are my own. Do I have what it takes to stay afloat? I'm adrift on a sinking boat. I'm sitting about it as the sun sets in the sky. I'm still in my room as night comes round, but I still do not know why. And the more I look at the horizon, all I see is blue water and sky. I don't know these choices I make are my own. Do I have what it takes to stay afloat? I'm adrift on a sinking boat. I don't know these choices I make are my own. Do I have what it takes to stay afloat? I'm adrift on a sinking boat. And I don't know these choices I make are my own. Do I have what it takes to stay afloat? I'm adrift on a sinking boat. Thank you. So yeah, 5 of those 6 tracks were off of my latest EP, Summer, as I've consistently said. But if you want to check that out, it's like I said, it's on all streaming services. It's on tape. It was released on tape through Baron Tapes in Indiana. So if you want some of those, go to wavegoodbye.bandcamp.com, or you can go to Baron Tapes Bandcamp as well. There's some available on both sites. Highly encourage you to check it out. To everyone who watched the set, thank you for sticking with me. I haven't done this in a while, and it probably showed. And again, thank you to Motif Mag and the Parlour for hosting me and inviting me to do this in the first place. It really means a lot. And I hope to have the opportunity to play here again, because this has been really fun. So that's been my set, and can't wait to do the interview.
All right. How's it going, man?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So my name is Hakeem, a.k.a. Keem in the Cut. Real quick before we get started, I just want to thank Motif and thank Skylar for connecting us, making this all happen. So
sure.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you to Tech Man in the back making all this happen. I appreciate you as well.
Definitely.
So without further ado, let's definitely get into this. So Jack Downey. So nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too.
I did a little bit of research on some of your music before we got here. So of everything that you performed, I think the two that stood out the most was Summer of Love and Golden. I really like just the scale of it, the sound, everything really flowed well with the type of stuff that I listened to. So definitely kudos to you. The performance before was great as well. How'd you feel with everything?
Well, with like the performance or?
Yeah, just like getting up here, doing your thing. I know you said you haven't been on a stage in a little while, so
yeah,
how's it feel to be back?
It feels good. I mean, you know, obviously it was a little rough around the edges, but you know, I think it was still fun to do that.
Right.
You know, in this kind of a space again.
Yeah.
I haven't done that in a while. There were some like backyard shows where I'm from, 'cause I'm from Massachusetts. There were some backyard shows during the summer, but those were outside in people's yards, if anything.
Right.
So those weren't the same. And like I said to you guys before this started, I really haven't been in a venue, I think, since March, because the last pre-lockdown gig I played was at a record store in Vermont.
Yep.
So that's like the last time I've ever been in a venue, because then everything shut down. So it felt good. It's nice to be doing this again, and I hope I get to keep doing it as the year progresses.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everything sounded great. I know you had the mishap with the beat machine and all that, but honestly, you can buy 1 million and 2 of those beat machines. The talent that you showed on the guitar, that's one in many. So kudos to you for that. You definitely did your thing.
Thank you.
And the style of music is really interesting. So I'm pretty versatile when it comes to what I listen to. I'm that guy that if I'm driving and we're listening to music, I'm gonna take you on a journey through old rock, new school rap, metal, everything. I don't know what it is. I kind of go for certain scales, certain sounds. I just like the way certain things sound. I'm not really glued to one genre, so I like what you're working with, the beat, the tempo you're working with. It almost gives me like a Beach Boys kind of vibe. Just kind of puts me in a good mood and good to listen to. So definitely kudos on that. The EP sounded great as well. How many tracks are on it in total?
On the digital version, there's 7, and on the tape version, there's 8.
Oh, okay, that's smart. So kind of an incentive to go with the old school physical model.
Yeah,
I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's really smart. So I think you mentioned earlier you go to Providence College.
I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. And what year are you?
I'm a sophomore.
Nice. Yeah, no, I go to Johnson Wales, so
nice.
That's definitely cool. Now, are they doing performances or anything like that?
I'm part of the jazz band there, and they want to do a concert at the end of the year, which, I mean, the way things are going, it's feasible that it could happen. Aside from that, though, I mean, they're like, the school like ensembles are planning on performances. So I want to talk to them about doing some kind of outdoor concert for like on-campus acts and maybe some local acts around the campus. And if I could get that off the ground, that'd be great. I don't know if they'll go for it, but it's probably worth a shot. But they're looking to do ensemble performances at least.
Yeah, I mean now is definitely the time for you to push for that. Things are starting to open up now. Mm-hmm. They got the vaccines rolling out, so people are starting to kind of be able to normalize a little bit.
That's right.
And get things back to speed where we need to. Just because every industry really felt COVID and the impact of the lockdown and all that, but the arts and everything in Rhode Island definitely felt it a lot too, just because we weren't able to get together.
Yeah, exactly.
We couldn't do more than like 10 or 15 people. So, but this is nice. Even though this is a small little thing, you were able to kind of do your thing, and it looked really good on the stream end I saw over there. So, yeah, definitely good stuff. But so as a musician, how long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been writing music since probably around like 5th, 6th grade, and I picked up the guitar in 7th grade, and then the Wave Goodbye sets with like the looping and all that is definitely more recent. That was like I want to say senior year.
Okay.
That was senior year when I started doing that, because I got a loop pedal for Christmas, and that's when I was like, all right, maybe I can start taking this on the road. But I've been playing in bands since sophomore year of high school.
Nice. No, that's actually, I'm glad you actually brought that up, just because now when I listened to the music before, it was awesome, but seeing you actually perform it kind of intrigued me a bit, because I like that you're like a one-man band essentially with the equipment that you have here. And I mean, it's nice to have a band, and you have your drummer, you have your bass guy, you have your regular guitar guy, but you're kind of like the Thanos, the trifecta. You do everything on your own, and that's actually really really neat to see. Just because you don't have to rely on anybody to get your content out, you can kind of do your own thing and be creative, and like you said, you can take your stuff on the road with you, which is really neat. So it's really cool to see you kind of able to work with all that and to put together a whole composition on your own, because I thought you had like a whole team or whatever, or you were doing it from a computer or whatever it may be, but to see you do it live is actually really cool. So kudos to you again for that as well. That was really cool to see you work the beat machine and kind of loop your own guitar into it. I really like that a lot. So definitely good stuff. So I guess like the grand scheme of things as an artist, what's your goal essentially as an artist? Are you trying to perform at a certain venue, or are you looking to kind of get a job with music? Like what do you think at what point in your music career will you think you've made it, you're happy with what you're doing with it, and this is kind of what you want to do?
So that's a good question. What I want most is to be able to perform and make enough money doing that where I can call it a living. Like maybe I'm not gonna be like YouTube big or anything like that, but I want to be able to sustain myself while doing this, so I'm not constantly losing money. And I want people to listen to my music. Like people have actually been buying the tapes. I just recently did like an Instagram ad campaign, and it actually like someone bought a tape from that, which was pretty crazy to see. And because this is the first time I've ever put one of Wave Goodbye's EPs on tape, so it's pretty cool the reception that it's gotten. But I'd say there's a lot of different aspects of music that interest me. I like to play it, obviously. I like to write about it because I have like a music column for the school paper.
Okay, nice.
I go to shows, I take photos, I set up concerts. So there's a lot of different avenues in music that I really enjoy. I'm majoring in music tech and production too, so I'm trying to learn more about like mixing and mastering, because that's always costed me a lot of money.
Right.
So I'm trying to, at the very least, not like I can do everything myself, so I don't have to pay anyone to do that. And then hopefully people start turning to me for help, and that makes me some money too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's honestly, it's great to be able to mix music and see it come together from your own hand, because you're the one with all the ideas. You were saying you're a producer, so like, you know what it's like, to have an idea, and you mess with the dials and all that, and it comes to life. It's such a satisfying feeling that eluded me until recently. I took a class last year, and it helped a lot, and so I used that knowledge to mix this EP. And so if I've kind of gone on a tangent, but I just want to do something career-wise in music.
Yeah. You love music. You want to.
I wanted to be involved in it, and even if it's not my main career, I always will intend to be involved in some way or another. So that's always the great part about music. But if I could do it for a career, I think that'd be my hope.
We'll see what you have that works for you well, because I sit and talk with a lot of artists, and a lot of them make good music, but the content of the music just doesn't suit every environment that they're in. And there's many different lanes of income for an artist. Meaning you can be on the radio and make money, or you can be like an artist that goes to different schools and things like that and make money, or you can make small like commercials for startup companies, things like that. There's many different avenues, so you definitely got to be creative on that level and really think what audience you're looking to, who you're trying to speak to when you make your music. So is that something you've thought about already, like who exactly you're making music for? I think, other than yourself, of course.
Well, I was gonna say Wave Goodbye is a largely like kind of an emotional releaser. At least that's how it started. So that was like I could never, like, that's why it's a solo thing. It's just because I can just when I feel like I need to make something, I can just make something. Right. That's what's great about that project. But I think it depends on the band, because I'm part of a couple bands like around either in Massachusetts or Rhode Island. Yep. And the three bands that I lead, including this one, I have a band back home called Friday Life, and then I have a band with my brother called Sun Mask. So it's just the two of us. And Friday Life is a more conventional band. It's like, indie rock, like dream pop type stuff. Okay. And so that's kind of like, that could, I feel like, appeal to a lot of different people. Yeah. It appeals to like adults because it sounds like the 80s. Yeah, it appeals to people in my age group because it's a cool sound that not a lot of people in the scene do. Yeah. So that's what's cool about that. And I'd say with something like Sun Mask, which is just really loud, and it's very shoegazy.
Yep.
I feel like it's only gonna hit a niche crowd, but it's kind of just it's so much fun to make that I think it's gonna find its audience at some point.
Exactly.
Like we've only released 2 demos for that project, and the reception has been really warm, like surprisingly so. And we've only played like 3 shows, you know, because we started in May, because that was the middle of the pandemic. So we haven't really had a chance to spread our wings yet, but I'm excited for that because it just has found its genre, or its audience, I should say. But that's why I have multiple bands, just so I can reach different groups
sounds,
of people.
different things like that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So now you mentioned before that you've been practicing mixing and mastering, things like that. Do you have your own studio, or like where are you recording most of the music that you're putting out?
So most of the music, like Wave Goodbye, is almost exclusively direct into the computer.
Yep.
So it doesn't take a whole lot of work, and then I can just record it anywhere.
Yep.
I did a lot of the recording for this EP. I did a lot of the recordings for the instrumentals over the summer, so just in my room pretty much.
Okay, nice.
And then I finished up the instrumentals like either in my dorm or at one of the practice spaces at Providence College, and then I did all the vocals at Providence College too. So that's just kind of I have a very portable setup. I just have like an interface, a mic, and a computer, a Surface laptop.
You can't even call it a poor setup, because that's where the quality comes from. Honestly, you know, you go to these places, they have these massive studios with all these different interfaces and different studio monitors and things like that. At the end of the day, you need a good mic, good headphones to hear what you're doing, and a good understanding of the music theory and the direction that your music's going.
Yeah.
And you know, these artists these days, some of them are making music on the road in a tour van, making these hits that are making them, you know, thousands of dollars. So I think the size of the studio isn't really, you know, anything you have to worry about. It's just the quality of the what's the word I'm looking for, the equipment that you're working with.
Right.
And it sounded good. So I think you definitely have, you know, good equipment that you're working with. And it's good to practice, you know, the mixing and mastering aspect, just because it sounds like you're kind of in the same area that I was when I started making music. I think I started, you know, at the end of my senior year in high school, and I knew I wanted to hear a certain type of music, but I couldn't really find anything out there that kind of fit that. So I figured, why not just try to make it myself? So you go through that stage where everything just sounds awful, but then you go to a stage where you're like, okay, this isn't good, but it's also not bad, and it's kind of cool. And eventually you just really build off of that and do some really creative things. So I think, I mean, now the other song you did, you said it was 2018 that you recorded that one, and that one sounded really good. So, I mean, you know, some of these songs are timeless, is what I'm trying to get at, basically.
Wow.
But I don't want to get sidetracked too much. I took a couple notes of things I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Okay. So, who are your major influences in this area in terms of, you know, music? Like, is there anybody that you heard, you know, perform or showed you a song that kind of motivated you to try it yourself and kind of work with that? Or
sorry.
No, that was it. Just like, is there someone who motivated you to kind of be where you're at today?
Like specifically to the state of Rhode Island, or just in general?
Not necessarily Rhode Island, but I guess on a local level, I guess like somebody personally that made music that you knew or anything like that, or is this kind of just like something that you've seen other people do on TV, on YouTube, and really manifested the interest to do it?
I would say it's definitely more of like something that I heard or saw rather than a local influence, at least in this case. There was this artist I found in my freshman year of high school named High Sun. It was a one-man band. Like the guy was a year older than me, so I was like, oh wow, another teenage musician. Like I hadn't seen anything like that. So I started listening to his stuff, and it was like, it's got a similar vibe to Wave Goodbye. It's less like loop based and more just like, you know, individual tracks. Like when he ended up performing live, he has like a full band, which at some point I'll probably do too. But he's always had a full band, but. It's very dreamy stuff, and just the fact that he did it all on his own was pretty crazy, because I was doing something similar at that point. And so that was pretty cool to know that other people were doing that. And then I'd say the person who I've aped the most with this project is this guy called Current Joys.
Okay, nice.
His real name's Nick Radigan. He's either based out of Las Vegas or New York. It's kind of different wherever he is, but he does loop stuff similar to what I do. he started earlier than me. So he like I heard his stuff one time in like sophomore year of high school, and it blew me away because it's so simple, but it hits a nerve, and the lyrics are really impactful.
Right.
And so I was like, wow, this is really great. And then I found other artists like that. And so eventually going into senior year, like the summer going into senior year was when I was like, it kind of just hit a boiling point where I was like, because I had the drum machine, and I was like, I need to make something, like, because I had my band Friday Life, but I felt like, I felt like the songs had to be put together a certain way, and that kind of distilled the emotion that I was going for. And so I was like, I need a way to just have something simple and to the heart. And so that's why I started making Wave Goodbye music, and it was pretty poorly mixed at first. I didn't really care about the mixing all that much. I didn't even know what a compressor was at the time. So like
no, it's a long journey to learn how things are supposed to sound.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
it's just it's what I really like about those early recordings though is that they definitely have a lot of feeling to them, which is what I was going for. And now that I know more about the process, I've tried to at least make it sound a bit more presentable. So.
It's I guess I see where you're going with it. Like when you first start making it, it's like raw emotion onto the mic through the computer, and you kind of work with it. But as you get good at it, you already have the idea of what you want to do. It's like the song's already completed before you even started, once you get to a point where you understand what you're doing. So yeah, definitely see where you're going with that. But on that note, is there like a certain point in your musical career that you realize like, okay, I'm good at this, I want to keep doing this, I want to try to make it something bigger? Is there a certain song or performance or something that kind of told you like this is something that you have a talent for?
I just think it's I've always just wanted to do this. I like ever since. It's funny, the catalyst for getting me into music was actually I saw Coldplay's 2011 Glastonbury performance on TV, and just after that it was like something that like flipped a switch in my head, and I just started writing lyrics at that point, and it was crazy. And then I kept at it long enough where I was like, I should get a guitar to help complete my thoughts, so it's not just me singing. I didn't know anyone, so I was like, I'll have a guitar and at least I can do something on my own. So I got an acoustic guitar, and then I got an electric guitar, the Telecaster actually. And I always wanted to have a band, so eventually I did that. It took a bit, but I got there. But I just think it's weird. I've kind of just stumbled into doing things. Like, it's just something that I find my way into. Like, a lot of people have, like, a really vast knowledge of things, and I've just kind of found my way into several situations. But I'd say the first time I played a show with a full band was Friday Life's first concert, which was at, like, this local show with a bunch of other bands. We only played like 3 songs, but it was so much fun. And then I got a show at like a local club in Mass called the C Note, and that was like our first big show with like an hour-long set. And that was just crazy. And there wasn't even that many people in the audience, but the people who were really liked it. And it just, I guess I've never really focused much on the support. As long as I have a few people there, honestly, I'm having a good time. But then the crowd started to grow a little bit, and that's when I was like, all right, I want to keep building off this momentum and go as far as I can.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's interesting, like, when you first start off, because the way I feel, if it's something that you're not interested in, if you're not getting the support that you're looking for right from the beginning, then it's just not something you love. Because I've tried a lot of things, too. I guess you sound like you're like a jack of all trades as well, kind of. You have interest, you try things out, see what sticks. And I'm kind of like that too. And it's interesting because you get to a point where you're doing something. You may not get the viewers you want, you may not get the listeners right away, but you're doing that same thing for those same 5, 10, 15, 20 people, for 4 or 5 years. And at some point, and you may not even realize that you're getting better at what you're doing for that audience, and you pull in more people in the process. So it's definitely a long journey, and I think you're aware of that at this point. But you definitely have the right idea, working with your own equipment, being able to just kind of do your thing. But it's all consistency. You just got to practice, keep doing it, keep putting things out, throw things against the wall, and definitely step outside the box a little bit too. Just in your spare time when you're making music, just try different things, use different effects you've never used, play music in different scales. And it's amazing. It's amazing how something that could be the greatest thing that you've ever made can come from a random decision on the spur of the moment. Like, I've seen it with several different artists in the studio, because I've recorded for people as well, and they do something and they're like, how does that sound? And it's like, yeah, no, it sounds good. How about we try to reverse this pattern and then try it? Then they do it, and it just completely blew their mind. Like they never thought that the sound that came from a simple change like reversing a pattern would make almost a whole new song.
Right.
And give it a new life. So definitely try different things, get out of the comfort zone a little bit. But what you're working with sounds really nice, and like you said, you're appealing to the right audience. I think. I think you could get on the stage in front of any generation you want at this point, because you've somewhat found a sound that it's upbeat enough to keep a younger crowd interested and get them happy in a good mood. And like you said, it sounds like some of that classical rock as well, which everybody loves, and that kind of stuff is timeless. Things like Bohemian Rhapsody, Killer Queen, all these old songs, Surfin' USA. These are songs that, obviously were made years ago, but I feel like you can play them at any point, and everybody's got like a head bob or a foot tap going on, so you're definitely on the right track with that. And speaking of that, is there any other like styles that you've tried before that you just didn't think were for you? Or I know you said your other band is a little bit different, so how's that like the creative process along the way going?
I'd say, like, styles that I've tried that haven't really worked out. Like my first ever project that I was just doing on my own was kind of like very alt-rocky, like Weezer type stuff. And that was cool, but I kind of lost interest in it. And I kind of tried to do, I ended up getting quarantined for a brief period because a friend of mine tested positive, so I got contact traced and sent to the hotel where they're putting all the contact traced kids at Providence. Right. So I ended up there for like 10 days. And I was trying to I was listening to a lot of alt-rock at the time, so I tried to make some. I don't know, maybe it just wasn't the right vibe or something. It wasn't coming through the way I wanted, so I got like one cool riff out of it I might develop, but that's it, and I probably won't repeat it. Yeah. But I have a lot of genres that I like, and I have a lot of music that I want to make at some point. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I mean, I've been part of bands, like I haven't been the leader of them, but I've played in them. Yeah. Where it's been things that I normally probably wouldn't have made. I was in a band in high school called Lift Fringe that was like kind of like a classic rock, like hard rock, like pop rock type of band. Like they did a lot of covers of various songs, ranging from like the Beatles to the Foo Fighters. So that was like, it's fun to play, but I don't know if that's music that I could have written. I see. So those, like, the bands that I lead, though, are normally just genres that I like, so. Right. No, that's normally how it works out in that way. But I'm always open to trying new things, and if it doesn't work out, then I probably wouldn't pursue it. Right. Okay, that makes sense. So, like, how much time do you think you spend, on average, practicing and just kind of laying back and testing out some different riffs and things like that? Well, when it comes to stuff that my guitar teachers ask me to practice, not enough. But when it comes to my own stuff, a lot. I'll have a riff idea, and I'll just, like, I have so many different songs written for so many different possible projects, and at some point I'm gonna have to make them, or it's just gonna go to waste. So I have to figure out what to do about that. But I normally, and this is probably to my detriment, but I don't practice a lot of my old stuff as much as I kind of work on new things. Yeah. And I kind of hone those before I go to record them. But I should practice. Sometimes I do practice the old stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, I do sometimes, but I should probably do it more. But I'm very focused on the creative aspect, which is probably, it's not a bad thing, but I think you have to obviously hone your style to better convey your ideas. Otherwise, it's not going to come across the way you want it. It's not going to come across to other people how you think it is. So it's something I should probably do more of. But I'm always writing. I'm always creating. So that's where I spend most of my time. Nice. I mean, well, it sounds like you have like an idea of music theory, and you kind of seem to understand how scales work, how to build melodies and things like that, which is easy to see when you're working the way you're working with the loops and stuff like that, because you slowly introduce in more sounds one by one, and they all kind of seem to layer right over each other effortlessly. So is music theory, is that something that you just understand, or is it something that you just kind of have a knack for it? Because I don't really understand music theory. I can use my ears to kind of understand if something sounds right, if it's harmonically correct, but I actually can't read music for nothing. I don't understand any of the notes or anything. Even when I was a kid and I picked up a piano for the first time, I was able to build chords and everything, but it was all by ear. I could never read and do something that was in front of me. So do you like understand music theory, or is it more of like a body kind of thing for you? It really kind of started out as just like kind of just feeling what felt good.
Yep.
But ever since I got to Providence College, I've been taking a bunch of theory classes, so I get it more. But I didn't know how to read music either until I'm still working on it, actually. Because I either just learn by ear or I use tablature. And my teacher's like, no, tab is bad. So I've been learning how to read actual sheet music, and it's been a while, but I can read notes now. It's just I need to continue improving on that. And just theory, I've like, it's stuff that makes sense once you get down to it, honestly. Like once I feel like true musicians or people with like a passion for music, like understand what sounds good. Yeah. The good thing about theory, in my opinion, is now you know what exactly it is, so you can explain it.
You don't have to question it.
Exactly. And if you're breaking the rules, then at least you know the rules that you're breaking, and it's then you can kind of decide how to re-enter the rules or continue breaking them, which is cool. 'Cause that way it's not just like, oh, I just put these chords together and they sound kind of weird. It's like, that's all well and good. I feel like it's good too to just, it helps you, I don't know, trailblaze, which is weird because when I went into theory, I was really worried that it was going to stymie my creative process because I thought it was just going to be like, oh, now I'm going to have so many like 1, 4, 5 stuck in my head. I'm not going to want to do anything else, but that's not true because like it's boring. And so it's like, but I think it's cool. I've learned a lot of the harmonies in class, and that's helped immensely because I was actually pretty bad at writing harmonies, and then now I kind of have a better idea of what I'm doing. So that's a benefit. So it's like it's good. It's like I feel like I don't know. Someone asked me one time like, "Oh, do you think it's like worth it to do a music major?" And I think obviously if you're trying to go all out in music, like you don't need a degree in that, obviously. Yeah. But I think it really does push you to learn a lot of things that maybe you wouldn't have on your own. So that's where I stand on that. But I think there's something built into a lot of people where they just know what's going on,
Yeah, like it's definitely not like mandatory to understand music theory to make a good song. There's plenty of songs that you probably made when you were younger or whatever that, sound good, and you may not have known why it sounded good before. It was just something you did. And now that you understand the theory, you're like, oh, well, I was in C minor scale the whole time. That's why it sounds right. So I think for learning the theory part of it, it'll help kind of speed up your process a little bit for sure, just because it's less of that trial and error, to see how this sounds, see how that sounds. You already know, you can kind of put up a wall and okay, I have to use these notes because this is what's going to sound good in the scale overall. So I think it kind of helps the workflow a little bit. But definitely not something that's mandatory, but it'll help kind of speed things up and let you know if what you're doing is even harmonically correct. And it's interesting because even when you listen by ear, some things sound right to you, but then other people listen to it and say, oh, it's out of tune a little bit, it's this, it's that. And that's kind of where the theory comes in, because then you can sit there and say, oh, okay, well, yeah, now I see that note doesn't really belong there. It may sound okay, but it doesn't necessarily belong there, and that's kind of where the music theory comes from. Right. But at the same time, to your credit for mentioning stifling creativity, maybe the song's not meant to be perfectly in tune. Yeah. There are songs like that too that are purposely, especially today, what I've noticed in hip hop is artists are purposely being offbeat now, and some people don't like it, but some people are like, but it's kind of nice, I like it, or they're working with a different beat pattern on a different beat, like it's interesting. You can really get creative with it. So on that note, it can stifle creativity if it's something you want to do, but it's not necessarily harmonically correct. But it's good to know, though. It's definitely something good to understand, so that way you can see a problem before you hear the problem, essentially. So I definitely feel that. As for like EPs and things like that, what's next for you? What do you think you're going to be working on after you wrap things up with what you're currently doing?
So what I'm definitely going to try to do this year is, because part of what I love about Wave Goodbye is that I'm able to be prolific with it because it's all me. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm trying to do a split EP with some friends of mine. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to spoil that yet because it's kind of a secret, but that'll probably come out in either June or July because I know they're very busy. So I already have the songs mostly written, but we'll wait until they're ready because I want to try to get it released on a label as well. And then I'm trying to work on what's either going to be another EP or maybe my first album, depending on how much material I collect. because I have a good amount of songs already. That'll probably come out in like November, December maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just depends on the label's schedule if I can get one. Because that's
Yeah.
kind of my goal from here on out. Is to, like, cause I got this one on a label, and I want to get everything
Yep.
subsequently on a label. And what I'm also thinking of doing is taking this one EP that I released, because I met this guy on Instagram, and he runs a label also in Massachusetts. So I was like, I should find something. Cause he said I could submit stuff to him.
Yep.
And what I'm thinking of doing, just to like help pay off some of the Spotify debt that I've accrued from putting my stuff on Spotify, is I was thinking of taking one of my older EPs, like remixing it, sending it to this guy, and doing kind of like a re-release in a way.
Yeah. You can
Which
definitely do that.
that's last on my list of priorities, but I think it'd be cool because I think there are some ideas on some of these EPs and I'm like, oh, that is beautiful, but it just doesn't come across the way I want it to because maybe the vocals are too loud or something, and then it hurts the overall experience. Where it's in these songs, in these cases, there's some of my favorite songs that I've written for the project, but I just think like the way that they ended up being mixed, I'm just like, it's a regret, and I want to fix it because I have the ability to, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like I should at least try it. Maybe not this year, maybe next year, but
Right.
That'll probably happen in May because that'll come out in like the year anniversary of the EP.
Definitely. No, that sounds good. Now, like you mentioned you use, was it Instagram ads or Facebook ads?
Instagram ads.
Instagram ads. Okay, so is that your primary way of like marketing, or do you do a lot of like local marketing, or do you run ads on other platforms as well? Like, what's your key way to get some viewership coming in?
So normally, I mean, up for a while, I just would post something on Instagram, like on the story or something like that, depending. Like, I have a bunch of different band accounts, so I'd use all of those and be like, hey, this is out. And, you know, have like the SoundCloud link, which I've kind of taken an emphasis off of SoundCloud a little bit recently because SoundCloud is great, but at the same time, I'm not really benefiting from it at all.
Right.
I mean,
it's like a portfolio, but it won't really get you to the next level.
No. So I'm focusing more on trying to get people to go to my Bandcamp because that way they can buy the music, I make money.
Yeah.
And it's like that helps me, you know, pay off some of the costs of making music, whether for Wave Goodbye or for my other projects.
Yep.
And so the Instagram ads I started using last year to promote one of my singles, and it was really, it did a lot. So I was like, all right, so I guess I'll just do this. I'll just do like a 6-day, $30 ad push.
Yeah, there you go. You just build a budget and then run with it.
Exactly, yeah. And so that's that. The having label help definitely helps because now there's 2 avenues.
Yep.
Like the cassettes on the label page have almost sold out entirely, so that's very exciting to see. And so I use like message board sites. I just go to like the SoundCloud or Bandcamp threads, just put my stuff, you know, recommend some other ones because I guess it's etiquette. But that's kind of how I've done that. But that helps occasionally. Like maybe once in a while you'll get like a big push because someone will repost your song, and then you'll get a ton of views. But that's kind of just for extra views here or there. It's not really anything big. I'd say there was a big push for this EP because I reached out to a bunch of different publications. You know, actually, I got an interview in Motif Mag a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
I got someone in England wrote about the EP. I got someone else in like New York wrote about it. So that all helps a lot. And I'm trying to get some more people to write about it. And then once shows come back, that'll help a lot too.
Oh yeah.
Because you know, I'll be able to perform. I'll be selling merch.
Yeah,
you know,
make
I'll be able
merchandise.
to
Put your links right on the shirt. Toss them in the crowd.
Exactly.
That's definitely really. Me and my friends did a performance PVD Fest. I think it canceled last year, I believe. So maybe the year before that, 2019 or so.
Nice.
Yeah, we got to go out there and do our thing, and that was our marketing way. We put all our information right on the shirts.
Nice.
And tossed them out to the crowd, and it worked out. We got a little bit of a response from it. So definitely, the power of merch is huge. Absolutely. I had another question for you.
PVD Fest is cool. I definitely want to play that at some point when it comes back.
Oh yeah.
I really didn't find out about it until like recently.
Yeah.
I found out about it last year because that was my freshman year, but then COVID happened, so.
Yeah, well, I think they're connected with Motif in one way or another, so I'm sure that's something, if that's what you want to do, I'm sure that's something we can make happen.
Yeah.
But
cool.
now as an artist, it's interesting because, like I said, I sit with a lot of artists, and we all love to talk about, you know, the amount of content we put out, the amount of work we do. But what a lot of artists don't like to talk about is the burnout side of things. Do you ever find yourself kind of maybe not overworking, but kind of reaching that point where you're trying to juggle. I know you said you're in school still, so juggling school with making the music. Maybe you have a part-time job on the side or something like that. Family, relationships, all that stuff. Do you find it tough at any point to fit the music in there, or does it always seem to kind of go with you through this journey of life?
I think right now it's the fact that I'm in all these bands.
Mm-hmm.
It works out just because there aren't any shows, so it's
Right.
not. It's kind of easier to juggle everything. But I think I'm definitely have to make some sacrifices when things start kicking back in.
Yep.
And I'd say there are times where I've been burnt out. In the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, school was fully remote, and so I was like, all right, I was at home all the time with all my instruments. So
Yeah.
let's make
So
some
we
stuff.
would think.
So, I started working on some more Wave Goodbye stuff. I started working on some demos for Friday Life. I
Yeah.
started my Beats project. I was trying to help my brother do like a synthwave thing. I think I was doing one other thing as well. And yeah, by a couple weeks in, I just didn't want to do music anymore. I was like, wow, I just don't feel any drive to do this at all.
Yeah.
It scared me because I'm like, what if I don't want to make music anymore? And I was like, nah, just give yourself a few days. And so sure enough, like a couple of weeks go by and I'm like, all right, I'm feeling it
Yeah.
again. So, but I knew it's more to stagger my work. So
Yep.
like the Beats project for me it's just for fun. It's actually kind of cool now because I've actually been collaborating with some local musicians, like some rappers and stuff like that.
Yep.
Some guys offered to pay me to remix one of his songs.
Oh, nice.
So that's cool. So kind of a weird avenue in that way I never saw coming, but it's a lot of fun. That's just kind of when I'm bored, I'm just sitting there, like I'll have just finished classes and I'll have some downtime. I'll just pull out my MIDI and I'll make some beats using that.
Yeah.
But there's definitely been burnout points. There'll be times where I'll just be sitting there thinking, like, am I making the right choice? Like, because I'm really pushing this hard. Like, should I just be happy with it being a hobby? And I mean, then I kind of reignite my resolve because I'm like, I want to do this. And so I feel like the burnout, it comes and goes, but I'd say the fact that I'm dabbling in so many different types, like if I get bored with one project, I can move on to another one, which is helpful because otherwise I don't know what I do. The fact, like Friday Life has been around for almost 4 years, which is kind of surprising to me, honestly, because there have been so many points where I've been like, man, I'm so sick of Friday Life. I want to get rid of it. It's just not doing it for me anymore. And it's like even in December, actually, I felt like nobody in the band was really having a good time. So after we played like a live stream, and I pulled them aside, I'm like, look, I think we should just not do this for a bit. And then I went back on my word because then we went into the studio and recorded the song. But it's like, I guess it really just depends.
It's a
very
very real experience, and probably especially for you because like we said, you're a one-man band. You kind of, I know you're in other physical bands, but for your own career, you're a one-man band and you're doing everything on your own. You're practicing the mixing and the mastering, so it's very easy to kind of overwhelm yourself and get to a point where things get really difficult to juggle. So, I mean, you're not just like the guitar guy waiting for someone to give you some music to play that you can perform once in a while. You're putting out EPs, you're recording, you're writing, you're doing everything on your own, so that can definitely be tough. So definitely make the time for it. I wouldn't force it, but and you don't want to take too much time away from it either. At the same time, it's a really tough middle ground to meet. But it sounds like you're in a pretty good position right now. Do you feel like you have an ample amount of time to work on music, or are you feeling like what are you thinking in terms of time?
I think it's going well for now. I think once gigs come in, I'm gonna have to see how things look with that, because that's obviously gonna be a big time consumption
absolutely.
as well. It's just I'm gonna have to figure out where my priorities lie with like what projects.
Yep.
So.
Nice. Well, no, I mean, that was great. Like I said before, too, the live show sounded great. Definitely keep up that same momentum. I like that you're doing everything on your own. It's good to work with other people, but it's also good to kind of be able to rely on yourself when you know you need to get things done. So that's awesome. You said you were keeping your future plans on the hush for now until you kind of put things together. So we
with
can
the split, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's something for everybody to look out for. As for like social media, where can everybody find you?
So, the Wave Goodbye account is at Wave Goodbye Music, no spaces or dots or anything like that. It's just Wave Goodbye Music.
And that's for Instagram?
That's for Instagram,
Okay,
yeah.
so
There's a Facebook page, Wave Goodbye Band, but I don't really use that, so I wouldn't go there if I were you. Then you can find me on Spotify, Wave Goodbye Music again. Bandcamp is just wavegoodbye.bandcamp.com. I think I mentioned that earlier. And then I'm on all streaming platforms. You might have to scroll down a little bit, but you'll find me. If you search up Wave Goodbye Summer, too, that obviously helps narrow it down a little bit. So that's where you can find me. And again, if you want tapes or any sort of merch, because I have extra stickers as well, wavegoodbye.bandcamp.com is the place to go, or barentapes.bandcamp.com is also the place to go. So definitely check those out if you'd like, because I think tapes are really cool personally. So
very good, very good. Well, listen, Jack, it was a pleasure to sit here and talk to you and hear what you had to do. Definitely appreciate you doing your thing and sharing all that with me. Again, my name is Hakeem, or Keem in the Cut, and I think we're all set here, man. So pleasure again to have you.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Anytime, man.